Hey guys, welcome back. We are now going to start with the Angular side of things. We have the front end basically. Well, I guess it's all the front end, but we have the physical layer that the user sees. All right, so we'll start at the index page, and you'll see that up here we have ng app, which is the main application directive. You want to set that to the name of your app, which by default is my app, but we want to change that. Okay, I'm going to change that to ng social. All right, so we're going to be replacing a lot of this stuff, a lot of these my apps. So let's do it here. All right, and you probably just want to do a search real quick. All right, so we'll save that. And now we want to go to, let's see, we want the app.js file. Let's open that up. Actually, I want to change this to open with Sublime. Let's see, open with. Now we want to change all of the my apps to ng social. So you want to do these as well. Actually, this one here, version, we don't want that. So what we're going to do is we're going to change this to Facebook, because we do want that. And then we have provider, and let's say otherwise redirect to Facebook. Alright, so save that, and that should be it for that file. Alright, so what we want to do now is create a new folder, and we're going to call that Facebook. Okay, and we need to create a couple files in here. One is going to be Facebook.js, and that's where all the controllers will go, the Facebook SDK code, all that stuff. And then we just need an HTML file, which will be the view. Okay, so we'll call this Facebook.html. Alright, so let's open up both of those. Now if we go to the view1 folder and the JavaScript file there, you'll see that we have the module set up and my app. That should be changed. Okay, so that should be changed to ng social. And then we have the route provider, and we're setting up the route. Okay, so we're saying if the user goes to /view1, then we want to load the template view1 HTML and the controller view1 controller, which is defined down here. So I'm going to copy this. Okay, and let's save that. And also view2, that JavaScript file, we also want to change to ng social. And you can just as well delete these, but if you want to add more pages or whatever, you can just replace this with your real content. Alright, so in the Facebook.js, we're going to paste that in, and we're going to change this to Facebook. Okay, and then down here, route provider, we'll change this Facebook, and we want to change the template URL as well. Facebook.html, and then for the controller, we're not going to go nuts and have a bunch of controllers. We're going to have one Facebook controller. Alright, so that takes care of the route. Let's see. Now we have to start working with the Facebook code, and let's just go back to the GitHub page. Alright, so here's an example. We're calling the app. Okay, so here's another thing we need to do. We need to include it as a dependency when we create our app. So up here, with ng route, we just want to add on to that. We're going to add on ng Facebook. Alright, so we do that, and then config, we need to have another config block, and we're going to use this Facebook provider, and we can set the app ID. So let's grab that. And I'm going to put this right here. And for the app ID, let's go ahead and grab that. Okay, so let me just log in here. Yeah, we'll use that. And let's see. Okay, my apps, and I want ng social. So I'm going to just grab this app ID, copy it, and then we need to paste it right in here. Okay, so that'll set the app ID. Now you can also set your permissions here. Okay, so we can use Facebook provider again, and we can say dot set permissions. Alright, and we're going to need quite a few permissions here. So we want the email permission. We want, let's see, public profile. We want user posts. Publish actions, because we want to be able to post to our wall. So publish actions, and user photos. And there's if you go to the Facebook documentation, you'll see a list of all the permissions and what they do and all that stuff. Alright, so next thing, we need to actually add the JavaScript SDK. So if we look here, this is what we want to do. We want to call .run and run a function and pass in root scope, and this is where we want to load the SDK. Alright, so let's do that. Okay, so right here we want to say .run. Let's see, run, and then we need a function, and that function is going to get passed root scope. And then we should be able to paste that in, that function, that SDK function that we had a while ago. Let me just grab that. And let's see if we can just put this right here like that. I think that's good. And then we want, let's see, for the controller, let's change that. That's going to be our Facebook controller. Alright, so let's save that and let's just see what kind of errors we get. Alright, so let's see, I'm connected to ng social app. So I just want to upload. Actually, let me refresh this first. Okay, I want the whole Facebook folder. I want the app.js, the index.html, and let's do the views as well. Actually, wait a minute, I'm not connected, am I? Make this a little bigger here. I can't really see what's going on. Okay, public HTML, and I want ng social, and then I'm just going to bring these over. Okay, I want to choose to overwrite, and hopefully this at least works a little bit. Let's go ahead and reload this. Alright, so we're still seeing this because it's still in the index file, but I just want to do hit F12 so you can see the console. And it looks like we got a bunch of stuff going on here. Failed to instantiate module ng social due to, let's see, ng Facebook due to ng Facebook is not available. All right, that's strange. Did we installed that, right? If we go to Bower Components, ng Facebook, let's make sure it's on the remote site, which it is. Huh. Oh, you know what? We didn't include it on the index file. That's right. If we go to the bottom here, we need to include that file. So let's copy this. And we want Bower Components slash ng dash Facebook slash ng Facebook.js. Alright, I think that's right. So let's save that and then re-upload the index. And hopefully it's gone. Alright. And you guys probably caught that a while ago. I spelled welcome wrong. So what I want to do now is I'm going to take all this stuff I'm basically going to take from here down to here, so that whole row, and I'm going to cut that out, save this, and then we want to go over to Facebook HTML and paste that in. Alright, and we'll change this welcome, save it, and let's upload that stuff. So we want the whole Facebook folder as well as index. Alright, and if it's working correctly, that template will show because we specified it. Where did we specify it? Right here. Okay, template URL. So let's go to here and reload. Okay, the welcome is still not spelled correctly, so it might be a cache thing. Alright, there we go. So now this is all coming from the Facebook HTML file. Now in the Facebook HTML file, we need to actually do quite a bit here. Alright, first of all, we want to surround all of this with the controller. So up here with this div, with this row class, we're going to set ng controller. We're going to set that to Facebook CTRL. All right, and let's see. Let's go to Facebook JS and continue along here. Okay, so basically we're gonna start adding stuff to the controller. Now we're gonna want to use a few things in here, and one is gonna be the scope, which we've went over quite a few times. So we need to claim that as a dependency right here. Okay, it's gonna be $scope, and then we need to pass it in as a parameter. Alright, not only that, but we need to have a Facebook object to work with. Alright, so we're going to do the same with that. This is going to be $Facebook. And we're going to pass it in here as well. Alright, and then down here, what we're going to do first is we want to set isLoggedIn to false. Alright, and that's going to be a scope value. So scope dot isLoggedIn, and that's going to be set to be false. Alright, now what we want to do is we want to create a login function. So we'll say scope dot login equals function. All right, and the function, we're going to use the Facebook object. So Facebook.login, and we're going to get a promise back. So we need to say .then, and then inside of then we need a function. All right, and then what we're going to do here is we're going to call something called refresh, or a function called refresh that we're going to create. But just to make sure this is working, let's just do a console.log, and we'll say logged in. All right, now if you've used the Facebook API before, then you've probably used something like this, fb.login. All right, if you've used this before, then all you need to know is that you're replacing this with $Facebook. All right, it acts the same way. All right, and there's a lot of documentation as well. Where are we? Let's see. If you go to the Facebook developer site, and let's see, docs. Basically, you want the Graph API right here. All right, this is gonna just basically tell you everything you need to know about the Graph API, about grabbing posts, users, basically anything. Let me actually look up the JavaScript SDK. Okay, this site here is also extremely helpful. Okay, we've already saw it. That's where we got this function for the SDK, and it shows you all right here. Okay, so this is calling the UI method, which is it can be used to share things. For instance, share a link. We could actually use the same function right here, except we'd replace this with $Facebook. All right, so if you're looking through the documentation and you see that FB, just know that you can do these functions. You just need to use that object variable. Okay, get login status. Oh, here it is right here, login. All right, so basically this is what we called, except we used $Facebook login. And with this function here, you're including your permissions in the scope here as an extra parameter. But you don't need to do that in using the module we're using, because we defined the permissions up here. All right, so you don't need to include that. All right, now let's just see if this function is going to actually call. If we go to Facebook HTML and we want the login form, so we just want to set a directive on the login button. Okay, we're going to set ng click, and that's going to be equal to login. All right, so if we save that, now since we're in the Facebook controller, when this login function is called, it's going to call this right here, scope.login. All right, which in turn should call the Facebook login, and it should give us this message, hopefully. Okay, so I'm just going to upload that. All right, so if we go ahead and reload and click login, okay, it's going to bring up a Facebook login. And if we try to log in, cookies are not enabled on your browser. Okay. Okay, I don't know why I had that set, but you need to have cookies enabled. Okay, it's still doing it. Oh, okay, we need to reload the page. Wow, it's still doing it. All right, let's totally close the browser down. Cookies required. Oh, it's still there. All right, you know what? I need to go in my settings. Okay, just make sure that you do this. Should be under privacy. Let's see. Content settings. Block sites. Keep local sites. All right, let's just say allow local data. All right, let me try that. All right, there we go. Now, what's going on here is it's asking for the permissions that we set. All right, so your public profile and email address. Okay, so if we click OK, and I didn't have the yep, here we go, logged in. All right, so we're actually logged in now. Now, there's no difference in our app because we haven't set any of that up yet. Okay, obviously, if we're logged in, we're going to want to show our name, our picture. We're not going to want to say, please log in. We're going to want a log out button. So we have a lot more to do, but we are, in fact, logged in. Now, if I go back and I log out of Facebook, let's just try that. Okay, so log out. And then if we reload here, you can see that we now need to log in again. All right, so log in. And this time you'll notice we don't have to accept the permissions because that only happens once. All right, and since we are logged in, when we hit the login button, it just kind of vanishes. All right, and you can see that logged in down here, this ran 3 times. Okay, so it runs no matter what. So in the next video, we're going to build the refresh function, and that's going to basically check if we're logged in. It's going to we're going to use the Graph API to get our own information, so we can fill in this box, and we'll set a log out button, and we'll do a couple more things. So stick around, and I'll see you in the next video.